We're back for podcast number 4. We've had a bit of a break. 4 months or so.
It's 3.
Is it?
But yeah.
April, May, June.
We're
in July now,
yeah.
Beginning of July for all of you.
We're not being lazy, but just a lot of life's happened.
There's been a lot of life, yeah. There's been a lot of change. Lots happened in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of bad stuff. But it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I really wanted to do another podcast straight away after the last podcast, but then it snowballed, didn't it? I went on holiday and then you moved house.
Yeah.
Time's just gone.
I think most of it's on me. You have been pushing.
Yeah, I've been calling you.
You have
keeping me at arm's length.
Trying to get your people to talk to my people. So the big thing is that I moved from residential treatment for my alcohol addiction into my own property, and that's been a process of about 4 to 6 weeks. So it would have been nice to do it sooner, and I did let you down twice because I chose to hang out with my girlfriend rather than you.
Shocking excuse. She's a lovely lady. She's very lucky to have you.
She is. As am I.
But you're here now.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I must admit that when I saw you cycling down the road earlier on, I thought, wow. I thought you looked really cool. Your hair's a bit longer.
Yeah, life has made my hair grow.
Yeah.
And yeah, feeling good. It's lovely and summery. So maybe we just edit those few months because it was starting to get hot. Like then,
so like the
now
end
it's proper hot.
Like 2 weeks ago, it was crazy hot. Yeah.
So it's like a really hot day in London today, and I've just cycled here I was in Holborn today, trying to get some work done out of the office, out of my normal office anyway. I just had a really nice cycle over, and it reminds me why I love this city. In fact, jumping on a Boris bike is one of my favourite things to do.
Right.
No helmet, just hair now slightly longish, blowing in the breeze. Past, the sights, past the Royal Courts of Justice, past St Paul's, past all the traffic.
I was going to say the traffic.
Yeah, weaving in between. There was one point around Bishopsgate where
you nearly died.
There's always like at least like one.
If you're not if you don't have a near death experience on a short bike ride, you don't feel like you've got your money's worth.
I squeezed through a gap that I probably had. No, it was marginal. It was a 50-50. If the bus had sped up a little bit faster, and it was a bus, which is always your nemesis as a cyclist, that it would have not crushed me, but it would have
done some damage.
It might have squashed my foot.
Okay, I was going to say get a helmet, but maybe.
No, people always say that, but I always think you're far more likely to be squashed. What are you going to wear for like a suit of armour? What?
That's a good point.
I've been thinking about a lot lately around like safety in London. Like there was a period where I was avoiding the tube because after things that had happened, and just a bit of concern about taking public transport. But taking your life in your own hands on a bike, it's just one of the thrills of living here, and I just really enjoy. You remember that video game when we were younger called Paperboy?
Oh yeah, you couldn't get very far in it. 4 or 5 houses.
But it feels like a real life version of that. It's a lot of fun.
Be careful.
I will. My mum will be livid.
Does she listen?
Still not got a helmet.
Does she listen to this?
I'm not aware that she listens.
I wouldn't want to host podcast 5 on my own or with somebody else with the very bad news that you've been killed. Yeah,
well, the irony will be that I'm so blasé about it publicly, and then that will be my doom.
I can just imagine reading an article about a guy matching your description who was knocked down and his last few breaths where I don't regret a thing. He died with sticking his fingers in the air.
Yeah. Something similar happened to me in a car where I nearly met my end a few times. So a bike is a bit more heroic maybe than that. I don't know. They're all dramatic. If you're going to go some way.
I think that being on the bike in London is a bit devil may care. throwing caution to the wind.
Yeah. And there's certain points where it's just thrilling, like going across Waterloo Bridge, or I even like the busy bits through Liverpool Street and through. It's just kind of fun.
On a day like today, it's great.
Yeah. And there's some beautiful people out, I'll have to say that. I don't have to say
beautiful as in lovely souls, or beautiful as in
just London,
stunningly beautiful?
London is just host, and I don't know if you notice this when you go home to wherever you live in the country.
Barnet.
Yeah, I don't know Barnet particularly well, but central London is a host. It invites some gorgeous people.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous they are.
So, okay, do you spend a lot of time eyeing up other?
Yeah, there were a few head-turning moments, which adds to the danger of cycling.
Is that where the near-death experience may come into it? Because being nearly squashed by a bus is actually Phil eyeing up a group of Brazilian.
Some might say that's your fitting end.
Yeah. What a way to go.
Yeah.
He died doing what he loved.
Yeah. Or some might say that's karma, isn't it, for getting an eye full of someone that catches your eye.
Yeah. Well, I know we joke about it, but it's I suppose considering all that's happened in London over the last couple of months, which I don't particularly want to go into massively, but working all day, it's hot. If you can get a lot of enjoyment out of the simple things, like cycling through, because we both live in London, I suppose, and I grew up in London. I don't know what it's like for you, but it's almost like being spoiled, because people are like, wow, London's so amazing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of maybe a bit averse to it. And when I go over London Bridge and I see Tower Bridge, especially at night or lit up, I just think, wow, this place is amazing.
Yeah, well, the view from Waterloo Bridge is one of my favourite views in the world. So cycling across there, and it's stunning. And I always, even today, 10 years since moving here, I do appreciate all the landmarks that so imagine you cycle home going from where I used to live going through.
From post office to village hall.
Yeah. Exactly. From roundabout to play park to the local bungalows. Yeah. It's just seeing the architecture. Yeah, I'm sounding a bit pretentious now. The architecture, like I know what I'm talking about. But like it's just seeing all the crazily historic buildings of London is. Yeah, I still appreciate it. I still enjoy it, and cycling. I also like it at night.
Yeah.
Even after a few drinks.
Is that legal?
I think maybe it's a grey area. It's probably not encouraged. It's probably. Imagine if you were caught doing a crime, as in a traffic crime violation. Then you might be in trouble if you. I don't know.
A warning.
Yeah. But I had to get home from Hyde Park the other day after one of the concerts, and I took a Boris bike, and I was a little bit worse for wear. It's just a really enjoyable way to get home.
Do you drive on the road, or do you drive on the paths?
Oh, on the road. In fact, I really dislike people who cycle on the pavement.
I meant like kind of like the cycle paths through Hyde Park and the like.
No, there were no cycle paths where I was going, and
I'm worrying about you increasingly.
Yeah, I got a bit lost at one point, but luckily I'm starting to know London a bit like a black cab driver. Okay. I feel like I could nearly pass the knowledge.
Okay.
So I got lost, but I knew how to rectify my loss, but yeah, that was nice.
Good stuff.
But yeah, it was a nice way to get here to you. Am I allowed to say what part of what?
Yeah, you can.
In the east.
Yeah. Just near Brick Lane, very trendy.
Oh, that's.
I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind. I'm an open book. So what else has been happening?
Well, that was a concert that I came back from the other day on my bike. I've been, and a few weeks ago I was at Guns N' Roses as well. So
I know a lot of people that went to see that. I met a guy at a party, and he said that he went on the Friday night, and he said that I said, what was it like? He said it was a lot of middle-aged men like bouncing into each other, being extremely. I'm very sorry, very different to when you first used to see him.
That was the same night I was there, so maybe I was one of those. middle-aged. Yeah, I'm pausing because I'm trying to think if I am middle-aged.
I don't think you're middle-aged, no.
Okay, good. I'll go with that. But yeah, no, I'm not a massive Guns N' Roses fan, but I've always wanted to see them live, and yeah, and they did live up to sort of like stadium rock, you know, to the max. And Axl Rose has seen better days. If you see him now, he's clearly had a bit of work done. He's got those white pearly teeth.
Doggy dentures.
The full on. I can't think what the word is. You know, the proper ones we were talking about the other week, Rylan.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's had his face, maybe a few things done to his face.
I reckon he's got quite a tail to tail.
Yeah.
Tail? Tail.
Yeah. Well, oh my god, I've just noticed we haven't got the mic in. Shall we try that again?
Whole thing. Should we start again? Yes.
No, I reckon that might have picked it up anyway. Listeners, hopefully you can hear us now.
Do you want to check?
I'll set it. Nice, carry on.
Let's go. Okay, cool.
But yeah, sorry.
So your socks are off.
Yeah, sorry, Alex. I'm getting really comfortable
when I said make yourself at home, I mean literally make yourself at home. I don't mind. So I'm fascinated by
sweating and.
That's okay.
I didn't want to sweat on your carpet.
I don't mind. That's just I'm interested in the human behaviour.
Yeah. But yeah, Guns N' Roses was fun. Axl Rose, I was thinking he would be someone I'd want to go to the pub with on a night out on Sunset Boulevard. That would be amazing. Like you said, I think he's got some stories to tell. But he does look like he's had the LA lifestyle for 20 years, and it took its toll. And
then the subsequent LA fix.
He's been Hollywood-fied.
Yeah.
Slash looks quite natural and normal, and as he always did, you can barely see his face anyway.
Yeah.
But he looks good. Yeah. And I don't know the other ones, but no, it's really good. And the crowd were a bit older. There was some bad behaviour. Someone really annoyed me during Sweet Child of Mine.
Really? Were they singing it really loudly?
No, but someone just came charging down and sort of jumped in my space, like right during the peak of like that song, like as if they had the right just to sort of jump like right in and get
ruined it.
Just I was enjoying it, and then suddenly I wasn't enjoying it because these twats. I sort of barged them out of my space because they were in my space, I was dancing and sort of singing as you do, and they just ruined my mojo. Sort of got right in the way, and so I barged them out of the way, and basically the lady of the couple gave me the finger.
Wow.
So I thought, you bloody
bugger.
There's still people in the world, you know, even if you might share interests like a concert, it can be right twats.
Yeah, they're ruining it for you.
And I think even rock and roll or rock, I often meet like the politest, nicest people at like, heavy rock venues, but they were just absolute idiots, like townies.
You're going to say something else then, the way your lips are moving.
It's alright, it's podcasts, we can
bleep it out. Would you bleep the C word out?
No, I was going to say it's podcast land. You're allowed to.
Would you say what you like?
I think I try to be a bit more refined.
Would you, if you found yourself saying the C word, for example, Chelsea, would you bleep it out?
I'd never say Chelsea.
No. Can we revisit something?
Sure.
It's something small, but something that stuck with me. So, your Ben Watson picture.
Yeah.
I have to say, as fan pictures go...
Yeah. I was going to put it online, by the way.
That's the best fan picture I've ever seen.
Really?
It's a really... You know, like, usually people don't see that in... Like, when they here's a photo of me and such, and it's usually a bad photo of one of them. Yeah. It's usually the celebrity kind of almost smiling awkwardly, and the member of the public, like, smiling excitedly. Yours just looked like a really nice picture of two guys out and about.
Yeah. Okay.
And I looked at it and I was like, I'm really glad, because I know that was a big deal for you.
Yeah.
And like, if you had your eyes closed, or if he was like he looked a bit sullen. I love the word sullen. It wouldn't have meant as much. And my girlfriend said to me, wow, that's such a good picture of Phil. And I said, yeah, I was really glad that such a big thing, because, you know, you told the story and you even wrote an article about it on your blog, that it came out, it was a true representation of the meeting.
Yeah. No, I wrote a blog about Wigan winning the cup.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Not about meeting Ben Watson. Oh, someone's smoked alarm.
Well, this is
very lively in this part of London.
So there's quite a lot of people surrounding me, and they have intercoms and fire alarms and the like. Yeah. But it's real life.
It was sirens before. No?
It was sirens. I don't get any blue lights, fortunately.
Yeah. But no, I was going to post that picture as well as maybe some other pictures on our Facebook page.
Is there any chance you could maybe in this podcast put a link?
Yeah.
To the blog. Yeah, your blog's great.
No, not the blog. I meant our Facebook, Addictive Tendencies, on the Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Find us on Facebook. I'll stick it on there. Where we put the podcast, ladies and gents.
Well, we have our podcast on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud. So
yes.
Yeah, cool. That's a great picture.
Yeah, and I'm having website issues at the moment, in fact, but I might sort. Anyway, this is detail. Okay. Maybe not for.
Some people love detail.
Some people like the nerdy stuff.
They do.
I'm thinking of doing something web-based, because my web. Anyway, yeah. No, I'm not even gonna go there. Too dull.
I often find myself wanting to go dum 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 dum, almost like bringing the soundtrack in naturally.
Yeah. I start talking about JavaScript. I think that's an edit point. JavaScript. What was I going to say? But yeah, no, it's been a long while since our last podcast, and I went on holiday to Italy. That was what I've been doing lately.
Good time.
The trouble with doing a podcast so far apart is that so much has happened.
Yeah.
That this recap will probably last
the whole podcast, and there'll be nothing. Yeah. There's nothing current.
Yeah. But yeah, we won't do that. But yeah, no, I went to Italy. I went to lots of different places on a bit of a tour. I'm thinking about getting an electric bike now. I'm back in London.
Okay.
Because one of the highlights was cycling through Tuscany, from vineyard to vineyard on an electric bike, and it was just one of the best things I've done.
Like modern day Michael Palin.
Yeah. And sampling. I'm not really a red wine fan, but sampling the red wine, and that was because it's that part of the world. And that was,
Coming soon to a bookshop near you. Bicycles I have ridden while slightly intoxicated whilst viewing stunning scenery by Phil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Italy, it's somewhere I've always wanted to go, and I've been back and forth a few times in the last few years. And Tuscany particularly was where I don't know, it just looked stunning on TV, and I just wanted to be there. And it's great, yeah. Highly recommend it. Get electric bikes.
Well,
in Montepulciano.
Say that again?
If you're in Montepulciano.
Okay.
I think I've got that right. Get electric bikes and go around Tuscany, or just generally get electric bikes and go around Tuscany, because it's like the Lake District, but
flatter.
without the lakes. No, not flatter.
Really?
It's really hilly.
Okay.
So that's why I think
the lakes.
you'll need electric if you're the same fitness level or below my own.
Definitely below you. Definitely below you.
I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Talking to our listeners. All two of them. We've lost a few since in that gap.
They've become disillusioned by our 4-month break.
They think we've abandoned them, so they've abandoned us.
We would never abandon our listeners.
I like to think, like a friendship, you can have a gap and
you can reach out, and the idea that you can pick up exactly where you left off.
Yeah, I was hoping we do one a month, but we're a bit behind schedule now.
Yeah, I think we can get back on board.
Yeah.
So on the subject of travel, I turn 40 in a month's time, just under a month, and I've never been out of the UK as an adult because like crippling panic attacks for years and stuff. But my girlfriend booked a trip for us to go to Paris on my birthday for my 40th.
Awesome.
And I'm really, really excited.
Awesome.
And it's only for the day, but it feels like it's always something that I've really wanted to do, but always felt too fearful of doing. Like, I have this weird perception in my head that the closer to home I am, the safer I am. So if I was the other side of the world, I wouldn't be safe unless, wherever I am, I'm not safe unless I get home. So the idea of waking up in, say, I don't know, Spain at 4 o'clock in the morning and thinking I can't get home almost brings on a huge anxiety attack. So we're going for the day and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you getting there?
Eurostar.
Brilliant, that's a big deal for you.
It is, yeah. So I've researched it all.
I say that because one of your underground fears, you're going to be pretty underground.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail to this. The idea of being in a small tunnel, like on the tube, that if it stops, you can't get out. Literally can't get out. Got my arms held out at the moment for those listening. But it's a bit different in the Euro tunnel because you could get out. Do you know what I mean? So I don't feel as enclosed.
Can you? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
I know what you mean.
I think so. So the tunnel is a lot bigger than the train. So if it was to stop and the doors open, I think you can get out and walk along the side. You can't do that in the tube. And strangely enough,
I didn't know that. Is that how people sneak through the tunnel?
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe that's not true. But yeah, it's funny, the detail of having no space to work with. So you're literally trapped in a tunnel. That if you were to get out the doors, you couldn't get out of the carriage that you're in, is what I mean. Yeah. So it's not that I feel trapped in the tunnel, it's that I feel trapped in the carriage.
Yeah. So you can travel along the train. I'm not sure you can travel out sideways.
I don't want to go out, but I just think the fact that I know that I can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like when I'm in the overground and it goes into a tunnel, the tunnels are quite big. So if it was to stop in an emergency, I could get out. So I feel safer knowing that if it stops, I have options that I probably couldn't use, but I feel safer. And that's the bottom line. It's sort of about feeling safe and the perceptions of feeling safe.
Yeah, I did Eurostar for the first time only a couple of years ago, and yeah, it's really, really nice journey actually.
20 minutes in the tunnel?
You won't even notice the tunnel yet.
It's 20 years of panic attacks for tunnels, probably wouldn't even notice it. But no, I know what you mean, it's pretty quick. But no, I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it.
And so you're travelling early morning, coming back in that evening?
Yeah, 7 in the morning, back at 9.
And you've not been to Paris before?
No, I went to Portugal when I was a little lad, twice, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's it, my whole life.
Blimey.
England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales.
Yeah. Paris is great, it's one of my favourite cities.
I hope it ignites something in me. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, and happy birthday for the future. So next podcast you might, unless we do another one, if I can't figure the date.
3.5 weeks. I'll be 40. And it's interesting, the whole thing about turning 40 is that it doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is the fact that it seems to interest a lot of other people. And it's like, oh, you're going to be 40. And it's like, all of a sudden it's people are more interested in me. And I'm just like, I'm kind of quite excited to still be alive after maybe some of the things that could have made things very different. So to be 40, I'm getting old, it's just like, I'm kind of looking forward to it. And that's why I wanted to go away and do something really, really cool. People are like, oh, you're turning 40. How do you feel? Oh, it's all downhill from now. And I'm like, after a while, I was just like, is it?
There's a lot of doom mongers.
There is a lot of doom mongers. It's a little bit like when I was moving, and I was up one night looking for kettles, and I thought I'd just get any old kettle. And my friends were like, no, you have to get a good kettle. Get a kettle like this, or get a toaster set as well, and get this and this and this. I found myself up till 2 o'clock in the morning thinking, I now have to get the right toaster and kettle set because of all the input. I was just like, if it was left to me, I would just get any old thing. It's like I'm stressing out by proxy, like people's fears of getting the right kettle and toaster set or turning 40 as being put on me.
Yeah. Well, I used to think these people who are very strong in their opinions are more likely to be right, but the more I've got older, I've realised that some people hold very strong views, and they're just blatantly just wrong, or it's just their opinion. And I controversially think not everyone's opinion is equal. Some people are just wrong, or just you don't need to listen to them.
So would you be open to the fact then that could include you?
Yeah, but
not suggesting.
I don't think so.
Not suggesting.
I don't want to get all Brian Clough.
No.
But
then, young man.
You know, I tend to trust my own judgment. I know there's areas where I've got blind spots, and I have, but generally I'm quite a good egg.
Is there such thing as a wrong opinion? Because if somebody wholeheartedly in their heart believes something, like for example, I could believe that you are the most attractive man I've ever seen, right? And if I really believe that, like people could say, well, no, he's not. But where would you draw the line on?
Well, that's an interesting one, because I do think
you are the most attractive man in the world.
That is both true subjectively and objectively.
Right.
I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Wow.
I've lost the audience.
The philosopher in you has come out, Phil.
No, I'm obviously joking. But I think attraction is quite unique. I know, and can vary from person to person. I think I've got some friends who some people would find attractive, and other people would be like, no, just no.
Yeah.
I know. I think I'm talking by exes as well.
But to the individual that believe, but in their heart believes something.
I think if someone really finds you attractive, they might hold you on a bit of a pedestal above other people. When objectively, if you stood me next to Brad Pitt or whoever.
I bet Brad Pitt couldn't pull off that shirt.
He certainly couldn't.
Nah, I don't think he could. But it's interesting. It's like two questions that interest me. Can somebody's opinion ever be wrong if they truly believe it? And is there such thing as
I didn't want to bring this up necessarily, but that film-related discussion we've been having in our little cinema group about films that are good or films that people like. You know, I really like The Graduate. There's people in our film club that don't. But then
I've never seen it.
Without getting it personal, but then another film that our group went to see was Suicide Squad, and everyone loved it. And now I can tell you categorically, without having seen Cinema Suicide Squad, that The Graduate is a better film than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but I suppose it boils down to not what you prefer.
Yeah, but that's you're into opinion, and it's sure, people are entitled to hold that opinion. Say someone said Suicide Squad is better than The Graduate,
and they firmly believed it in their heart.
They're wrong though. They're absolutely.
So their opinion's wrong.
Their opinion is that might be a preference, but it's not.
I don't think their opinion can be wrong, because I think if they believe that in their heart, for them that's true. But I think that maybe in the grand scheme of things, that it may not be the general consensus.
I think you can like something over something else, and maybe that's the territory that we're in. Yeah. But to say The Graduate is a brilliant film.
Yeah, but you're using something that you like a lot as an example.
Well, let me. Teen Wolf is maybe not universally accepted as a brilliant film, but I do love it. But I also love The Graduate, and I know it's technically brilliant. Whereas Teen Wolf,
to you,
well, to me, but also it
won millions of others.
But also it was critically acclaimed, and it smashed records in the box office, and is a film that's loved.
So that film will be hated by
some. For our little cinema group to reject it, obviously has hit a nerve with me that I'm still
that's tapping into rejection
from. Yeah, maybe that as well. But
if you look at reviews of bands like the Beatles and stuff, who have quite obviously been suggested as being the best band ever, and Led Zeppelin and the like, Nirvana, there will be many people who think that they're rubbish, and it's like, I don't know if an opinion can be wrong. I think an opinion is always right on some level, even if it's a really shit opinion.
But I think the thing about this kettle, this guy who you're talking about likes this kettle, but is acting as if it's his like for that kettle is the truth, the universal.
Well, you're right. I think there can be a difference between opinion and fact. So actually, I think that I think Chelsea are a shit football team. That's my opinion. Well, the fact is they won the league.
Yeah.
So a little bit like the Graduate and the awards, history would show that it holds a lot of water. But it's a big old conversation that we get into as to if you firmly believe that something is in your heart, something is good.
Yeah,
that can be
I think if you can justify it, if you've got a perfectly good explanation that is justifiable, but I imagine there's some holes in an argument that would say, or an opinion to say to say you don't like that. Yeah, it comes down to a personal preference, which I don't think stems from it being a bad film. It stems from, I just don't like brown kettles.
I think people can. It's really interesting that people can really dislike something, and
it might bring out emotions in somebody, or like sometimes it's what you bring to a film, isn't it, to some extent, or to a book, or to comedy.
I like that
or to
what
music,
you said,
as in. It might bring out something in you, or something that you feel uncomfortable with. That's my opinion. But
my other question is, do you think there's ever...
And that's why I was so up for like people seeing it and maybe having a chance to change their opinion, or just to discuss it in a sort of cinema-y way amongst our cinema group. But yeah, I'm over it. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
I was going to say my other question is there such a thing as a selfless task, a selfless action?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. And we'll leave it there.
Have an edit point. So, ladies and gentlemen, we forgot to put our microphones on. A bit of a amateurish error. Apologies for the sound quality in the first 10 minutes. Oh, well, it has recorded though, but yeah, you can't probably. We got our mics in properly now.
So what else has been happening? What's been on your mind?
Well, so should we come back to an old favourite Mayor for the Day? I don't even know if it's Mayor for the Day, but it's more things that are pissing us
I think it's Mayor
off.
for the Day for you, ranting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Either or.
What's going on?
So one thing I noticed on holiday that really winds me up, and maybe it's because I've got a background in...
Is it drunk cyclists? I'm just kidding.
It's maybe because I'm got a background in photography that I notice when I come to take pictures in these places, I get lots of pictures of my co-traveller. But then when I want the favour returning, like one of me, it comes back like I'm not pleased with the results, Alex.
Really? Can you explain a bit more?
So, like we were at Pisa which I've just posted on social media. Our trip to Pisa, and there's the classic holding the tower up or pushing it over, which if you go there,
everyone's
hundreds
standing there.
Of people doing it. It's just something you got to do like while you're there, and it's not the only time this has happened, but just like cutting me out of the shot or cutting the tower out of the shot, I find a bit inexcusable.
So you're asking the natives or the other tourists if they could take a picture of you on your camera?
Well, it happened twice. Well, no, I went with a friend, and I just don't think everyone's got the same eye for getting things. And I just don't understand. You've only got to get stuff in the frame.
Yeah.
I don't get how people get it so wrong. And to cut the tower off, or it's just a few shots where I'm just like in the left-hand corner, or the tower's like.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
Or I'm out of focus, and it's just like,
Unless it's very, very sunny and you can't tell what's on the screen, it is difficult. Yeah. So it's not that difficult to get it wrong.
So I get into arguments about it.
Seriously, with people that are taking photos of you?
Not particularly on this holiday, but with people on holidays.
Talk me through how that went.
Just like, could you take that again? Because what seems to have happened
come back.
Is you've cut my entire body out of the shot.
Right.
You've just it looks like a decapitated head.
Right.
And then which looks weird.
Yeah.
Can we have one where my torso and I just don't look weird. It looks weird if you cut things out of the shot.
Can we have one with me in it?
Yeah.
Is what you're really saying?
Yeah,
Phil?
the whole of my head, not just half of it.
Right.
Or can we? You see that beautiful scenery behind me? Can we get that in? Because what I got on holiday as well was like, we got to this viewpoint, this vista of Tuscany.
Great word, vista.
Yeah, this panoramic shot. It was screaming out for a photo. So I got one of my travel companion, perfectly framed. He'll treasure it forever.
Yeah. You took that.
I took that. So him there, seen to the left. When the roles were reversed, when he took one of me, I got a bloody Nissan Micra car bonnet, which I didn't want in the bloody shot. So I just don't get it. I don't get what people are looking at when they're looking through a camera.
You should ask them.
And how they get it. Well, I did, because I am the type who doesn't avoid.
And what's their response?
I just I don't know. I just can't. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I tried. I don't know. Yeah.
It begs the question, Phil. It begs the question. Are you not a fan of the selfie? I get that. Maybe you couldn't do a selfie with you pushing your hands on the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but there are. Is it something? Would I be likely to see you walking around Tuscany or Pisa with a selfie stick?
I just haven't mastered the selfie stick. I don't completely trust them or know how they work, and so no, I know I haven't got them, but it does take a lot of faffing, and you do get the same shot over and over. I think the selfie stick, but they're good. They're pretty good.
They look. I have a love-hate relationship with them that I just think they look so naff. Yeah. But I bet they work really well. Yeah.
But if you're standing next to Pisa, you look pretty naff anyway, doing all that
pushing. Yeah.
Standing on bollards, trying to. Yeah. But also with the Pisa shot, it's quite. You have to, the photographer has to get down at a certain angle. You have to be prepared to move. And
work.
A lot of photographers aren't prepared to move. And that's the key.
So you hand them the camera, they stand on the spot, and
So I have taken to telling the photographer where to stand,
right,
and telling them where I'm going to stand, and saying, "Do not deviate from my instructions."
Wow.
But they still managed to
quite a fine art
budget up. So, and then I was getting a bit fed up with his photographs. So I asked another bloke, just a random tourist, to take one. And he fudged it up as well. He completely chopped off the tower. I'm like, mate, what are you doing?
I like the fact that you put him take him to task.
Mate, what are you doing? I didn't do that. I was just like, I saw the photos afterwards, like, you effing
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he spoke English, but the language of photography is universal.
I love, when I'm walking, I spend a lot of time at the South Bank, I like seeing groups of people and one person trying to take a picture of another group, and I'll say, excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you want me to take it for you?
Yeah.
And I really like being helpful. I'm quite needy, but I really like being helpful.
Yeah.
But when I say, hi, do you want me to take it? And they go, no, it's all right. I just think, you...
Oh, they often say yes, more often than not.
Yeah, I don't go out. I don't go out and do it for hours.
In fact, there was this couple where I'm talking about at the top of, in this high point in Tuscany, where there was this couple and this dog. And I was like, that is such a nice photograph that they weren't even going to take a picture. I was like, excuse me, do you want me to take a picture of you?
They've got that for life.
And I knew it was gorgeous.
That's a winner. That's sat on a sideboard somewhere.
Yeah. That's one that's going to be in a frame. Oh, you remember that?
Do you remember that nice Englishman that we saw that then started shouting at the locals 5 minutes later?
But yeah, photography karma doesn't come back.
Photography karma. That's a really cool hashtag.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a bit of an annoying thing.
What else?
So, something that I both love and hate is bad tattoos.
Bad tattoos. What would you define as a bad tattoo?
I have a mixed relationship with tattoos, but because I quite like the bad ones.
Have you got any?
I've got one, and I'm thinking about getting another one, which is why I'm sort of always tuned to tattoos.
Okay, so an example.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, go on. I was going to say an example of a bad tattoo would be.
The Maori. Sorry, not on a Maori. Maybe I just had.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
But like the New Zealandy thing on the shoulder.
Is that the swirls and the?
Yeah, the swirl. Is there another word for Maori that I can't think of? But like the Kiwi, the traditional Maori design. But not on a Maori, on anyone except a Maori person.
Because
it's just like, what, you're from Dulwich, why have you got this ancient tribal symbol? So it's any of these tribal symbols which are really, really popular as a tattoo. They've been overdone,
right?
And every Bob, Jane, and Freddie has got one, and it just looks. I think it looks like. Why do you want the same tattoo that everyone else has got? I think that's a sign of a bad tattoo. One that is just. And let's be fair. I think now tattoos, they're just so common now that it's not an alternative thing. In fact, I would say tattoos now are what flares were in the 60s.
Wow. But then flares made a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, but I think looking back, people will look back at photographs of people in this era, and there's no particular fashion things that beards maybe, and tattoos will be the thing that people will be like, oh, remember that era where everyone had tattoos, and they look at
that tattoo that I've still got.
Their granddads who's tattooed and stuff. Yeah.
It's interesting when people. So I've got this thing about people that don't. They get something based on something that they're not related to. So I said to my girlfriend the other day, she was telling me about her dad wearing a Brazil top, and I was like, what? And she said he was born there, and I was just like, it put me in my place.
Oh, right.
But you know,
your girlfriend?
Yeah. No, my girlfriend's dad.
Okay.
So I was just like, it put me in my place. But when you see people getting involved in things that are not necessarily attached to them because it looks cool, or because it's the new trend, you think, well, why are you wearing a Barcelona top? You're from Luton. You know?
I used to have a Brazil top when I was 12.
Oh, it's different when you're a lad, but as an adult, unless you've got a significant. Well, listen, who am I to tell people what they can and can't do? For me, if there's no obvious link, says the man born in London that supports Liverpool.
But I quite like that because, just to give the counter view, I like it when you wear a nationality other than your own. Like, I will go out and buy a France top or an Italian top.
That's
just because it either looks cool, or I think it does. Not that wearing one of those is cool, but because I like the design of the top, and they often do quite cool looking.
France do some good tops, but I think that wearing a top from a different, country is, that frustrates me a lot. In the same way that people that have no obvious relation to Maoris.
Yeah.
People that have no connection having Maori tattoos because it looks cool.
Yeah.
I just think that people are.
I think if you're doing it just straight after they've won the World Cup, then that's a cheeky one. It's like you're doing a John Terry, you're trying to jump in on the glory of an event you weren't part of, or I think that's a bit. I don't like that.
But I think there's something very distasteful about wearing something that you're not connected to, or having, I don't know, like being part of like trendiness. Says the guy who's got an iPhone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of.
Well, sorry, I'm interrupting you again.
No, I talk far too much. It's this kind of whole trying too hard to fit in. So I got 2 tattoos. I got a musical tattoo on one arm, which I've always wanted. A musical note.
He has.
And I've got my one of my favourite singers tattooed on my other arm. Yeah. That's about me.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think anybody's got that. The musical note they will do, but it's not because it's what people do. It's it's very individual.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other one is like people's names on tattoos. No, sorry, I've just realised.
No, go for it.
You've got a name, but not
like relationship names.
Yeah, like
that's dodgy ground.
It's like your girlfriend's name, or your son, even your son's name.
I think it's a bit different for your kids. I think that you run the risk. I always feel that if I got married and I had my wife's name tattooed on my arm, that we'd split up quite soon. I think it's very different for children and for like mum and stuff like that.
I think part of me thinks why is that? Why do you need to do that?
Because it's symbolic. Isn't that what tattoos are about?
It's not really symbolic, getting the name. It's just.
It's very symbolic.
I sort of think if you love them, great, you love them. And that's. But then to tattoo their name.
Would you wear a Wigan shirt?
Would I wear a Wigan shirt?
Yeah.
Yes.
I suppose maybe in the same way.
Would I get a Wigan crest emblazoned on my arm?
I'm sure some people have, but that's about. No. I think loyalty and.
I think football ones are a bit tacky.
Symbolism. I think that the names is a dodgy one, but I think kind of each. I think each their own, but I just find that some of them are a bit.
Yeah. I wouldn't stop people doing it. In fact,
wouldn't be mayor for the day. You make all tattooing illegal.
I'm entertained by it, but I'm entertained in a way that when I see someone wearing a bad item of clothing, I want to. I find it funny because at least they're less well dressed than I am.
Do you find it easy or difficult to live and let live?
What? Sorry. I don't understand.
Do you find it difficult to kind of live your life and let others live their lives? Sometimes I get the impression that you kind of go a bit further than say I would to kind of make a point of other people's choices, and that's not a criticism. That's just.
No, I'm entertained by people making what I think are bad life decisions, bad fashion choices, and the bad tattoo thing, because there's so many of them about, and sometimes about where they are in their body. Yeah. And stuff. I just think, they'll regret that.
Spiderweb.
It's kind of that. I have that thing where I'm a bit bitchy, and I'm amused by quite bitchy things, but I don't. I like to think I don't take it too seriously, and I wouldn't hurt someone's feelings. I wouldn't go up to them and go, "All right, mate."
I think that's what I'm getting at.
I will sort of with my mate. Oh, look at that! It's a bit tacky, isn't it?
I think that's what I'm getting at. Knowing you for as long as I have done, I've noticed that, and I can do it as well. Saying, kind of finding it difficult to let go of something maybe small, and kind of questioning why somebody would make that decision, and it kind of staying with you, and I find that entertaining.
Yeah.
So being around you and being around the others that we've worked with, you've kind of, I think, wow, he's not let it go. But
I can get quite hung up on small things. Yeah, you're right, and details. And our pizza's ready, so we're going to have a little pause. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll tell you how this goes. Right, so lovely pizza from Alex there.
No worries.
That was delicious, thank you.
I made it with my own bare hands.
So, have you got any tattoos that sort of get on your particular nerves? Just carrying on with that.
No, I'll tell you what I saw recently. I saw a guy who had almost like, he was a white guy and he had ink. It was almost like a big strip of like his whole forearm was covered in ink, but it...
Oh, what, like the full-on black?
Yeah, but it wasn't like a pattern or anything. It was almost like... I couldn't understand that.
That's a bit of a thing in itself, isn't it? Black sleeve?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it was, yeah.
Yeah. Like just a full-on block of ink. Yeah, I can see what they're doing, but I'm not... It's quite a solid block of... Yeah, I don't know.
I think what annoys me about tattoos is when people get them, and it's like, you'll find a lot of women get like a butterfly on their ankle.
Yeah.
Or a little thing on the back of their neck, and I'm like, you know, on one hand I'm like, well, people should be allowed to do what they like within reason, and on the other hand I just think, well, why?
Yeah.
Like on the back of the neck.
Yes.
They can't see it.
Yeah. But someone else can.
They have to put their head forward, put their hair up, and say, look, I've got this tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't walk around with my arms showing. You can't see my tattoos unless I've got my top off or I lift the top of my sleeve up. But I can see them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're really, you know, that's why I had them there.
I think neck and face is a bit risky. And
face, man, yeah. I knew a guy once that had a spider tattoo, spider web on his forehead.
Okay, I think I might have seen that guy.
Yeah. He was in our field.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do wonder about what's going on inside their mind, perhaps, frame of mind, to get something like that. That's a bit of a big FU to the world, I sort of think. Yeah. And
people that have piercings all along their face and, you know, that just go extreme.
Yeah. I mean, what you were saying about like a girl getting a butterfly, I don't know, is that them trying to be more like an obvious feminine symbol type thing? I think
this is your...
Like picking an animal or something that's very fluffy or feminine or pretty, and is it trying to make you more feminine, even more, like what you know, you're a woman already, there's no need to add frills and stereotypical feminine stuff, like wearing pink, for example, isn't it? Like there's no need to accentuate that, but I think, is that why people do it?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't get into a conversation with you about feminism.
No, it's not about feminism. It's not a feminism thing. It's like for the same reason that a bloke probably won't get a butterfly and they might get a bulldog,
right,
or something.
It's to kind of accentuate masculinity or femininity.
Yeah, it's to sort of accentuate. And
I often get the sense that a lot of people get tattoos to kind of
be cool.
Yeah, and kind of that slight rebelliousness.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. But also saying something about who you are. It's trying to communicate.
Yeah, it's maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like, because mine are on show to a degree, they're easily accessible. It's symbolism, and I think that in others it's like a half-hearted attempt. It's like kind of half showing off. You know, because I do think there is, as much as I'd say that my tattoos are for me, and you know, I thought long and hard about them, there is an element of coolness about them.
Yeah.
You know, we see other people doing it and we think, oh, that's kind of cool. And, you know, I just think if you're going to do it, do it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, sometimes I meet people and they've got like butterflies on their ankle, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have noticed unless you pointed it out. And I think there's a very fine line between cool tattoo and over the top.
Yeah. Well, it's quite normal now, isn't it, to have a full-on sleeve?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I sort of think, well, you look like the next bloke down the street now. I mean, the individuality of it has gone for me. That's why I sort of think, what have you got tattooed and why? Is there a reason, or are you just doing it to be
So what have you got?
I've got a lizard.
And why is that?
It's because I'm a fan of Doors, the band.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm a big fan, and I sort of like wanted something to sort of symbolise.
What's the symbolism?
Jim Morrison is the Lizard King, and he can do anything. And he hung out in the desert.
Okay.
And had enlightening moments in the desert, and just liked hanging out in the Mojave Desert with his pals, and getting up to no good, and he just used to wear leather, and it's a bit of a sort of animal sort of thing. I really like the lyrics, and I guess I've got something else done, but yeah, it means something to me and people who know the Doors, I think.
Okay.
So, but the most common question I get is that a gecko?
Right.
I don't know, mate. I didn't get it for I wasn't being faithful to the breed of. I'm not a particular lover of lizards, although I do like them.
Yeah.
But people think I'm some sort of weird animal lover.
What's next, or what are you contemplating getting?
I don't know.
A gecko.
Yeah, it'll sound pretentious if again, maybe something Californian type.
Okay.
I've contemplated a few things and changed my mind.
Okay.
So I don't want to say. I sound like a dick.
Okay. You're going to wait until maybe you look like a dick.
Yeah. And
that's the risk.
To some extent, I don't really want to explain necessarily.
Fair enough.
To people, but they can ask. But yeah, I was going to get a surfboard, but then the obvious question is, well, you don't even surf, is it?
Right. What people say.
But I like the Beach Boys and that whole culture of surf. But yeah, people wouldn't get it. They'd just be constantly ridiculing me for not surfing.
Fair enough.
But not that I care. But it's just like that would be the obvious. Over Essex, you got to preempt the piss taking that will happen.
Exactly. The inevitable piss take. What else has been bothering you recently?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you've got any bad tattoos, ideas, send them in.
Send us your pictures, send us your stories, send us your money. No, we're just kidding. I tell you this.
Or are we wrong about the ones we think are cool?
Well, like you said, everything's subjective, isn't
trashy.
it? And down to opinion. So I was thinking about what's annoyed me recently in Mayor for the Day, and living near Brick Lane, as I walk up and down after lunchtime or around lunchtime, anytime after 12, will come the barrage of requests to come and have an Indian in this great restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And I always try and be really friendly.
Yeah.
And I say, no thank you, or no thank you, I've just eaten.
Yeah.
And I just thought, these guys are trying to make a living. And a guy asked me 3 times the other day, and I was with somebody, and I said to him, mate, you don't need to ask me 3 times. And I was like, whoa, Alex, calm down. And I don't like rejecting people, even in that kind of way. And that's because I'm not a fan of rejection. Mm-hmm. And so at work we had a event the other night, Saturday night, and I went to kind of Brick Lane to hand out some flyers, and came away from it thinking, oh London, you disappoint me. You really disappoint me. This whole kind of, hi guys, we've got this exhibition on site, it's free, and then some people are like, no, no thank you. But some of the looks, especially I thought I'm just gonna, because I was doing it for work, yeah. I had no problems going up to people and saying, look, you fancy doing this? And some people just didn't even acknowledge me, and I just thought, you Fulham Chelsea, which is what I thought. I thought I was really kind of annoyed. And then one woman said to me, I'm not interested, but thank you very much. And I was just like, and I left it there and I went back to the event, and I was just like...
Is that a good response? That seems...
I appreciated it.
Yeah.
I appreciated it.
Yeah.
And then somebody said to me, well, we all do it. And I thought, no, we don't. no, we don't. And then I came up I was near the tube earlier on, and somebody was handing out a sticker, and I was very kind of, I was talking to somebody, and I was like, nah, and I realised I kind of gave them a kind of half loving brush off, and thought, oh man, I'd do this myself.
So you got your own medicine?
Yeah, I did, yeah, and I just thought, it's really difficult in this country. People are usually selling things. You know, you've got the charity huggers.
Yeah. I give them the sort of, no, thanks mate, I'm in a hurry. Or I can't, or I already give to charity. Or, I don't know, I try to smile and just like, no, or not make eye contact.
Right.
Is that the same? As ignoring? I wouldn't, if they said something,
if they said,
I'd
hello,
give them a
sir.
smile and like a nod, and
That's
a shake of the head. No mate,
that's
not today.
That's
Thank
fine.
you.
That's fine. It's the kind of, you don't even exist.
You're playing with that pen lid, Alex.
I've been playing with that pen lid for the last couple of hours. So that's what's really got me infuriated recently.
We did it a couple of years ago with the charity, the old shaking the buckets at Christmas, and I remember that feeling.
Yeah.
But all in all, most people were polite. But yeah, the odd person, I did feel quite strange doing it, because I was like, I never wanted to do that and don't like bothering people. But at the same time, it was Christmas. We had Christmas carols going and kids singing and shaking buckets. It felt quite, tapping into the spirit of Christmas. But yeah, not everyone saw it that way. But other people are very generous as well.
They are, and we had a good response. But it's kind of that, London's so busy and it's so hectic, and like, hi, can I interest you in? And I'm like, okay, not even going to acknowledge me. And I don't know what to say to them, oi, I'm talking to you. I've got a badge around my neck representing an organisation that I don't want to bring into disrepute. You know what I mean?
No, fair enough.
But it upsets me a lot, Phil.
Yeah.
A lot.
I've got one more annoyance, and I realised after coming back from Italy I was really chilled out, so in a way I wish I'd done this podcast. That's why I was so keen to do it like straight after holiday, and because I was in a good place, I was all relaxed, and the last few weeks I've been a bit stressed, and I do get irritated by the little things, and living in London, it happens a lot, which is sort of why this segment of the show goes on, and why I'm never short of things that annoy me, because there are so many. But one of the things, and this is going to seem really petty.
The pettier the better.
Okay. So back to public transport, my home. You're going through the Oyster.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call it. The Oyster machine, the Oyster touchpad.
Yeah. When you're going through barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the Oyster touch? The thing I've noticed, and what really gets on my nerves, way more than it should, is that people that dilly-dally on the Oyster touchpad.
Yeah.
There's a way of doing it, ladies and gentlemen, which is to touch the touchpad and then walk through the Oyster barrier once they've opened.
Yeah.
But what some people do is they touch it and they keep touching it, and they massage it a bit.
Right.
And they don't. And then they walk through the barrier. They walk through the barrier, and they've still got their hand on it, like it's in some way holding the barriers open, but it's impeding
Right.
the next person through. It breaks the. There's no need, and it breaks the rhythm of my morning every morning.
So people of the opinion that once you so the card, it doesn't just open it, but it stays open while you're holding it on there, and when you pull it away, it will close.
Some people are
almost like pressing a button.
Yeah.
I've never come across that.
Some people are way too familiar with that touchpad. Really, your hand. What should happen is your hand goes out in front of you.
Yeah.
You touch the thing.
Yeah. And you're through.
Your hand should never go past your body, but some people are through the barrier. Their hand is behind them.
Right.
They're touching it in a way that is like way too over the top. Like they're virtually touching up the touchpad. Like they're at second base with that thing.
Wow.
And I think it's just, it irritates me because it's, why? What are you doing?
Quick point, I've never known what first, second and third base was in relationship
terms. I'm not sure either.
That's another conversation.
But I think it's either one that you might be thinking of.
I'm not thinking of any. Right, I've never seen that. I've never seen the hand be left behind, but I'll keep an eye out for it.
Still on it, shaking it, touching it, shaking it, you know, swiveling their fingers apart.
Caressing it, buying it dinner.
Massaging it, eventually, smoking a cigarette once they're through the other side. Sort
of
thing.
cuddling, cigarette.
It's way too much.
And then
why are they doing it? You just need to touch it, and when the barrier's open, you just walk.
One of the things that I don't know if it's good or bad, probably bad, is that I'd say, why are you doing that? Like, my frustration will turn into a comment. Like, mate, why do you have to keep ringing the bell on the bus? I can't just, it's a way of kind of dealing with it. Do you ever feel the urge to kind of say, what are you doing? Just move.
I do mutter and I like, you fucking...
Can they hear you? Or is it just...
Sometimes I do it. I do it a lot every morning. I'm just like, what are you doing, you fucking twat?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I just said it.
You said some bad cuss words, Phil.
But I curse like that almost constantly. That's my sort of natural screensaver.
Right. I reckon there should be
like my inner monologue comes out in a sort of low, sort of irritation. You know, just.
I reckon there should be a video of how to use the Oyster.
Yeah.
From you.
I will front
that will kind of accompany this podcast. I want to see how it's done, almost like a safety video when you're at work, the do's and don'ts. But that's quite an interesting one.
It's a little thing, but if you've not noticed it, it's something I just can't unnotice once you've seen it.
I've noticed people Alex. Stop.
Once I make people aware of these things, I hope
it'll be everywhere
join my world of just irritation.
It will be everywhere. I did have another annoyance, but I've forgotten it, so it can't be that annoying. Maybe we'll come back to it.
Next time.
Yeah.
Sunday best is a hangover straight from hell. How did I get here? I really don't feel too well. Coffee for my head and vitamins for everything else. 20 minutes on the website for spiritual health. I don't remember feeling this sedated, and I'm one step closer to my recovery.
Okay, so what else?
So ladies and gentlemen, we are sweltering here still. It's in the evening time, and
I'll be honest with you, I like the ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
sophisticated.
I know. As much as I hate people, I also have some respect for.
What I would say about you, Phil, is as much as you hate people, that you also love people as well.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I think
with nothing in between.
Yeah, exactly. Very black and white thinking.
But yeah, we are suffering for our art today because we had the fan on, but we didn't want to. It made a purring noise in the back of the podcast.
It's funny, us Brits. It's like I'm not great with the heat, so I tend to I like a fan and I like being near the window. And when it's sunny, I tend to stay in the shade, so I know my limits. But being quite a big guy as well, I find it quite difficult, and so I would probably complain a little bit more about the weather than I would like to admit. But actually, when it's as hot as this, people are in a really, really good mood.
Yeah. And you might be able to hear the people outside.
People outside, my lovely neighbours in my new
neighbourhood.
Yeah, it's really nice actually. Hey guys, just to let you know that if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for Addictive Tendencies, and we're also on Twitter at Addictive Podcast, and that's addictive without an E.
And you can email us at addictivetendencies@protonmail.com, I think.
Yeah, send us a mail and we'd love to hear from you.
And it's double encrypted, so nasty old bloody 5 years more Theresa May. I'm not going to be political, no.
Theresa May, if you want to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you. Cheers.
Yes, nasty. Tell us why you're so nasty and angry.
She needs love.
We should talk a bit more about addiction today, so we thought we'd, I mean, my smoking has hit a bit of a, still ongoing, and basically because such a long time has passed, I joined the gym and had good intentions. So if we'd recorded this podcast a few months ago, I would have been flying high, joined a gym and vaping. Yeah. But my gym going has decreased, like everyone's does, I think. And my vape's broken. So I was on the vape train for a while.
The vape train?
I found a nice banana milkshake flavour that was quite nice, and friends, even smokers, were like quite, wow, that's just as good, if not better than smoking. But then my vape, at Guns N' Roses night actually, it packed up. So I was back on the fags.
Okay.
And I am at the moment, but I've ordered another vape, and my local vape shop closed, so I would have just got it repaired. But the reason I bought another one is just because I want one quickly, and because I'm spending so much on cigarettes, and I don't know if it's repairable. Probably is, but I just can't. I haven't had a chance to go to the vape shop. But I feel like at the moment that I'm one of those people on a methadone script, and my script I've had a problem with the script, so I'm back on the gear.
Okay, that's fair enough. How was it for you when you gave up and you were vaping? How was it vaping around others? Were you around smokers a lot?
Yeah, but I was smoking and vaping.
Oh, okay.
So I've not.
You're vaping.
I've not truly given up the fags.
Okay.
Since.
So a foot in each corner.
Foot in each. I cut down. Camp. It definitely helped me cut down. And I feel like it's like people get on a methadone script and they haven't stopped using the gear straight away. It was helping me massively cut down on how many cigarettes I was smoking.
Do you think that it still enables you to smoke to some degree?
I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence about whether it's ultimately going to help. But I'm hopeful. There's times when I've just wanted to vape. I just didn't remember what the flavour was like, and it was nice. And I've not wanted a cigarette, and I've been going to cigarettes recently. I'm not smoking that much, just ladies and gents, just for your reassurance. I'm smoking about 5 a day, but it's more than I should.
Excuse me.
But yeah, that's all I've got to say really on the matter.
Okay.
I gave up for 3 years, in case people don't know. And then sort of lapsed in January, and that lapse is...
I remember you talking about it. It was quite an insight into somebody's personal journey of what it's like. I've never smoked. I'm really lucky, and I quite detest it. But then I detested alcohol before I even touched it. I'm still playing with my pen, and I reckon that if I got into it, I'd probably latch onto it. But
it's quite a conversation starter having a vape. You do other vapists.
Vapists.
So
are you a vapist?
That's not the best term. Sorry, that's the term I use jokingly. It's maybe not.
Wow.
Other vapists. They what flavour are you smoking? What it's a bit of a.
It looks really cool.
It produces a lot of smoke, way more smoke.
It produces a lot of smoke.
And I was smoking it sometimes in bed, just as sort of like quick little that you wouldn't do with a fag. I wouldn't do inside.
The bedroom smells of banana milkshake.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool. Hopefully I'll get back. But yeah, other thing I wanted to talk about was like drinking. So. I detest hangovers. Yeah. And that's one of my main reasons for wanting to cut down drinking. And it was one reason why the other day I didn't want to do a podcast. Yeah. When we were talking about doing it on a Sunday, I knew I was getting out Saturday night. Yeah. And I do remember your words, Alex, which I'm going to bring up to.
Yeah, please do.
You were like, well, maybe should just not drink.
Yeah, but it was, if I'm honest, the thing about texting, it was, there's no tone.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not assuming that you
so
were being...
it really was, I don't know, it's very difficult to give an opinion to other people, a thought to other people about alcohol without...
sounding preachy.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was about you and the podcast, and I was like, well, you know, we really wanted to do it, but I was kind of putting it out there, not as the guy in recovery, but maybe being a bit naive.
I took it in good spirit, as in, I thought you were just joking, like as in, maybe you shouldn't drink. No,
I meant maybe you shouldn't. Let's do it. That was that was it. It was a straight down the line comment.
Do you feel like with people who drink that they maybe don't need to as much as they do?
Yeah, absolutely, without doubt.
Yeah. And
when I see people,
I feel the same way, because it did get me thinking. Maybe I don't need to go on a massive bender after all. And
it's my view of it is massively biased. I get that, and I know that not everybody drinks like I used to. And it was a case of, when I thought about what I'd said to you, I even thought that maybe I was a bit blasé about it, and thinking that actually it's a big deal that you went to have a night out wherever it is you're going and not drinking. I was merely thinking about the podcast and the possibility, but I think that if I'm absolutely honest, when I see my friends and my loved ones drinking, I was out singing recently, and there was a few of my family and friends, and one of my family members was quite intoxicated, and it looked shit. I mean, it looked really shit, and I just thought,
what their experience looked.
Yeah, they had that kind of look in their face where they just looked quite hammered and stuff, and I just thought, somebody that's very dear to me, and I just thought, I could see it for what it was, and I was just like, and it was really interesting because I had a conversation with this person about something, and we talked about it in depth, and I was talking about moving and like getting my keys to my new place, and we talked about it, and then about an hour or two later on, they said to me, "Oh, I hear you got your keys," and I was just like, we had a massive conversation about it, and it's 9 o'clock now. Yeah. It's not like 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So I think that
makes people stupid, and
I think that I am at times pretty good at letting people just be people, but I think that I'm still tainted with maybe of how it ended for me, and thinking I don't really want people to stop. I just want people to be happy and be all right. And I think that's the bottom line. It's not like I don't want to stop people having fun.
Yeah, I know.
And people, sorry, but it's really important. People have said to me, maybe you're jealous, and I was like, no, I don't think. I'm probably envious of people that can go out and drink socially, because I know I can never do that again, and if I start, I won't stop, and I'm convinced of that. I just want people to be all right, and I've been out with people and they've had a few or quite a lot, and I think, okay, that's worked for them and they're all right, but it's really easy for me to be on the other side of it and say, well, Phil, why don't you just not go out and not have a hangover, and let's just do the podcast in the morning.
I think it was because I hadn't had a big night out in a while, and I thought this was going to be a big one, and I quite look forward to those big ones where you get out, where you get home at like 4, 5 in the morning, and I quite appreciate that. I sometimes call it like blowing off the cobwebs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
First it takes the edge off, alcohol. Sometimes when I drink, or when I do stuff to get off my head, it would be to just like blow everything out of the water. Want to like reset the battery. I felt like it does frazzle your brain, but then it sort of goes like your iPhone when it runs out of battery, and you recharge it. And sometimes I'm so wound up or stressed out by my 9 to 5. Not always, but in periods. That weekend blowout was really important to get to just press the ignition switch and blow everything up. And that's why I don't think drugs or alcohol are necessarily bad, because I think there's a purpose for them that isn't negative necessarily, and that is perhaps what they're there for, but obviously people take it too far.
That's exactly what they're there for. I don't think people take it too far. I think it takes people too far. Well, or do they take it too far? But then again, I guess not all of this applies to every single drug the same way. It's like heroin, I don't think you can do excuse me,
in moderation to blow, because it's just not worth the risk.
No.
And alcohol is obviously risky, especially for someone who's been addicted. I think that's something maybe people should avoid if that's an issue for them.
I don't know. I'd agree that's exactly what it's there for, to help people, kind of take off the edges and blow away the cobwebs. And I do miss that.
In the same way that some medications are, but and just back to the alcohol. I do know people.
Hello.
Very noisy neighbours.
Lovely neighbours.
Who are. Sorry, I've lost my track. So I've known a few people like this, quite maybe short people, small people who can't necessarily take their alcohol,
right,
who will still order like a large glass of wine. A large glass of wine is nearly half a bottle. It's sort of like, it's a big amount of alcohol, and they'll drink a large glass of wine. Of course, we got somebody at the door. So I'll try to remember where we were. Just had one of Alex's friendly neighbours come around.
Said he wanted to be very much part of this podcast. Said he's heard a lot of great things about it, and could he get involved? No, that's not true.
He was hearing it live and wanted to see the action.
We saw the big red light on. So we were talking about blowing off steam and
I think that's about like small people who can't take alcohol, who still drink large glass of wine, and then another one, and then another one, and like you were saying about your friend just being out of it, and I see it, and their eyes are rolling, or just not present in the room, and that's what I get to after. I can't take, so I don't do it, and I like to think I'm often quite responsible, and I have a rule. So it always sounds preachy, doesn't it? Really, like, I have a rule, but this is my thing.
Well, if it's about you,
remember, like Mitchell and Webb said something about that feeling after 2 drinks. I remember them saying it in one of their sketches, and I thought, that's really true, actually. That's sometimes for me it's after 1 drink.
That glow.
That 2 drink level, I think, is like the optimum.
Right.
The optimum that I want to get to, and then I would maintain that if possible. I wouldn't want to go past, because 2 drinks is when you can talk to everyone and you're feeling a little bit nice and a little bit, you see the good in everything, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then I think sometimes a bit later on, that depressant side of it can kick in, and you start to drink. If you carry on that trajectory, if it's an upward line, if it's a graph, if it's sort of going into the more drink or the more intoxicated you get, you're on that road to oblivion. And sometimes that's where you want to go. But most of the time I'd rather be in that point where I'm just at 2 drinks, and if I start to go over that, then I want to come back, but it's not always possible.
I've never really talked about this, but if I'm honest with you, it's like that place that you get to after 2 drinks. I used to think that 4 drinks would give me twice as much. And
twice as much pleasure.
Yeah, and so on and so forth. So if I had 10 lots of 2 drinks, which I would have, I would feel 10 times as good.
There's a bit of a culture in this country of like competitiveness to drinking. Like, I went out, got rat-assed, 10 points, couldn't see, I was in this much pain the next day, and it's a bit
like a badge of honour.
Yeah.
Especially among guys. It's I don't know, I have a very strange relationship sometimes thinking.
I also, sorry, I'll keep interrupting you.
Don't worry about it.
Go on.
No, go on.
No, go on. Sorry.
That I used to drink 2 bottles of vodka a day. It's so ridiculous. It almost feels unbelievable. I certainly don't feel cool about it. It almost seems like somebody else.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not the case.
2 bottles.
2 bottles of vodka, so 56 units. So a bottle of vodka the size of a bottle of wine. And 2 of those a day, and it's.
Yeah, I think I would die. Or like most people.
But I didn't start off on 2 bottles a day, so you build up.
That tolerance, yeah.
But it's really interesting to think that, I drank a lot on my own. That you think actually it's looking back, it's sad rather than cool. But I used to hear a lot of stories about the amounts of people drink, and I used to think that I could never do that. And then I went way beyond it. It's a strange relationship between. It's almost like a movie I watched, or like a dream. It's strange.
I was going to say about some of my clients who are drug users, they also have that relationship with drugs. That when they talk about heroin or crack or whatever other pills they take, prescription drugs, diazepam, Valium, when they talk about it, you can see a bit of pride in their eyes, like, look how much I had. Are you this might impress you a little bit, and I'm just so not impressed. It's just sort of like, it's particularly when you look at the state they're in, it's like, this is ruining you and your life. So if you think, of course I don't give you any, there's nothing that impresses me about how much, because it's devastating, and you can't actually control it or see it.
I think it's impressive, not from the individual point of view, but like it's impressive that the body can withstand that. Given the right amount of time.
Yeah.
It takes.
Yeah, but I find it weird that they're not talking. They're not talking about how it makes them feel or how good it is. I'm sure there is a moment where it's really high. But I think the large part of it is not feeling shit.
I think they're just disillusioning themselves, and it's like feeling really shit about yourself, and like you will try to find the smallest amount of comfort from anywhere. Like the worst thing that I could say about my drinking, for me, when I talk to myself about it in my own internal monologue, is that I used to be in such pain that when I was lying on the floor, the most enjoyable part of life was turning over. Because like when you turn over in bed and you get settled for a second, and I used to turn over hundreds of times in the night, because A, I couldn't sleep, but B, it would give me, that was my barometer of pleasure. It was turning over onto my other side, and then for a second or so. That's pitiful.
Blimey.
Yeah.
What was the pain?
I had a lot of internal bleeding, and like I would have these very, very strange pains in my chest, and the back
just constant at that time.
No, on and off. But I was shaking. These are the days when I couldn't sleep. In the days after drinking where I couldn't sleep, and I wasn't eating much, and I was shaking a lot, and I just thought, wow, look at me, the only enjoyment I get out of life. Yeah. And I've never shared that, but like turning over and that kind of second or two of relief is that's fucked up.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's very sad, and it's yeah.
Do you? One thing I just want to say, sometimes I'm aware around you about not being able to drink or not. It would have been quite ordinary for me tonight to bring like a 4-pack of beer, like to some people's house. I obviously wouldn't do that. Yeah. But, like you said, you were at a party the other week and people were drinking. And I know sometimes you make the decision not to go to those parties or not to come out on a particular night when it's going to be
Yeah.
very boozy. But I just wondered how you feel in those situations, as far as like I suppose the jealousy question was a bit interesting, but maybe not jealousy is not the right word. But is there? I don't want to say does part of you miss it, but do you?
A massive part of me misses it, and I would be lying if I said I didn't wish sometimes that I could drink normally, but I fully accept that I can't.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. I'm an alcoholic. I'm addicted to alcohol. Once I start, I won't stop, and like the body kind of, I think the mind more than the body kind of craves it to kind of smooth off those rough edges that you're talking about. So I do kind of miss it, but I think to be addicted to something, it would be crazy not to miss it. And I've heard people say in groups that I've been in, man, I'd drink now if I could, and I suppose I could, and I did drink until I couldn't get away with it because I was so messed up. But do I want to? No, because I know the reality. So I of course I miss it.
I mean, what interests me there is like I've said earlier about there being a place for drugs and alcohol to blow off steam. So do you do that crazy thing and use natural methods? Not crazy, I'm joking, but like you're using natural methods to blow off steam, which I think is really respects, because that's so difficult. I think
it surprised me that I think one of the things that I enjoyed alcohol so much that I thought that living without it would mean life was going to be boring, and I've been very, very fortunate, and I feel really blessed that my life has been an abundance of great things in sobriety, and I would admit that I really needed it to be great to kind of swing it that way, because if I was miserable, I'd be like, I'd say to people, well, you want to have a great life because what are you getting sober for? To be miserable? So that's kind of where I stand on that, in terms of life being so good. I'm surprised that I can get by on a day-to-day basis, still playing with my pen lid and my pen. Is that what I would say is that I started meditating.
Okay.
Because I've started working 5 days a week, not full time, but a little bit every day, and that's really good for me because I want to work up to doing a full week like most people do. And it's like, I really want this to work, and so I go to bed early and I get up and I kind of do things like meditation, and I've started walking everywhere and putting things in that require a bit more effort, because for me, like, drinking gave me like instant relief, but I think that you have to sit there for half an hour and meditate, which can be quite difficult, and like do some exercise and try to eat healthier. I still struggle with sugar, but kind of playing the long game, but thinking like the last couple of days I felt physically quite well, and thinking I've done quite a lot compared to what I was normally doing, and I'm managing it all right. So it's kind of doing more, but kind of looking after yourself in that kind of holistic way, and going to bed early, and kind of my bottom line is like wanting to stay sober, enjoying being sober, and just wanting to stay on that path and doing the right things. It's like some days I just want to stay up all night and sit on YouTube, and I think, well, I want to go to work tomorrow and do normal things and just have a normal life, and I get really excited about going into work and stuff like that. So it's kind of the longer game, rather than the kind of easier fix of alcohol. But I have surprised myself.
Yeah, and you also like singing in band and stuff, and I think certain. I mean, that's not your everyday, so that's quite good that you've explained what you do day to day. But like, there's other ways of getting a real buzz.
You're right. I get a lot from singing. It's such a release. It kind of feeds the ego, and I play gigs and I get so excited about playing, and then hardly anyone turns up, and I can get so despondent about it, and I was talking to somebody yesterday. I get so disheartened quite quickly. I can be quite upbeat and enthusiastic, but I can have the winds taken out of my cells really quickly, and I'm hoping like meditation and the other stuff that I'm doing will kind of help me to.
I don't think you can ever get rid of it completely. So
No.
I feel like I'm a highly strung, quite emotional person as far as.
I think so. I always thought you're quite cool.
People have said
funny
that.
like relaxed
But you've heard how irritated I get by small things. Now that is a constant. That is my mind constantly. That honestly is, and and I do have a repetitive negativity coming back and back that I have to fight off constantly. And I think you just mentioned like tiredness. I don't sleep well, and I heard someone say the other day that when you've slept not very well, that you're much more likely to go to junk food or smoking, and I think I've noticed that with me while my sleep's been quite poor, and I wish I could get an early night, but I'm just not one of those people.
Yeah.
Like it has to be 12 or 1, and then I'm listening to podcasts, not our own.
Is that because you think is that because you think you're missing out?
Maybe, yeah. And I'm on YouTube, and I'm on just staying awake. That's trying to stay awake. I don't know what it is.
It's a funny one that it's I suppose
trying to keep stimulated. Cause like maybe my brain, like with all this technology and stuff, is just wired or just looking for the next thing to excite me, and I find it hard switching off. So I think the mindfulness meditation stuff is something that I've never been able to master, but I've appreciated it when I get in that state of mind.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes exercise, or I definitely notice how much better I feel after the gym. If only I could drag my ass down there. Or cycling, which is partly why I enjoy the cycling. I'm gonna,
It's it's a funny one that I about a year or so ago I got into this habit of thinking that sleep is getting in the way of me living my life, because I loved that when I was living in a residential rehab. I liked between 2 and 5 when it was really, really peaceful, and I can just that kind of dead of night when nobody's going to bother me, my phone's not going to go off, and I can just, I spend a lot of time on the internet reading articles on Reddit, and that's a kind of way of taking the edge off for me, that kind of downtime, that kind of switching off from my brain. I used to think that, man, I don't want to go to bed, I'm not tired, it's getting in the way of me wanting to do things, and I do often feel that I'm missing out on things. But now I'm like, right, I really want this to work, having moved into my own property or my own accommodation, and thinking that I'm left to my own devices. I can stay out all night, I can go where I want, I can go into pubs now and stuff. I don't want to do any of that really. I want to stay sober, and I want to do the right things. I really want to progress in my work, and I think it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to go to bed. And I'm really happy that I feel like that. It's not like I have to drag myself there. But then some nights I don't go to bed till 2. But it seems...
On a school night.
Yeah, it seems like that I'm making some smart decisions. He says, still playing with his pen lid.
But yeah, I think that's it.
That's us.
Can we just say thanks to The Adjustment for their brilliant track, My Recovery, and Lance for letting us use that. Love it. And if you want to download the podcast, which you've already done, so
share with your loved ones.
Share. One day someone will subscribe.
Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.